When our crew set off on a getaway, an earthquake struck out of nowhere. Pops hurriedly grabbed our pretend sister, Lily, who was catching some Z's, and dashed outside. Mom, freaking out, still managed to snatch the stray pup Lily had found. They flew back home overnight and shared over a dozen group shots. Thankful they made it through the calamity, not one of them recalled me. I, the actual daughter, was hanging out for rescue amidst the rubble. Later on, I firmly took my mentor's offer to relocate overseas. Just like they wanted, I quit fighting for their attention and focused solely on Lily. I wasn't chasing their love anymore. Still, they seemed increasingly worried. Jess, why are you suddenly not trying to steal the spotlight from Lily anymore? A week later, when I came back home with scars all over, the music was blaring and loads of friends and family were there. They were throwing a bash to celebrate my parents and Lily surviving the quake. When my folks saw me, their expressions were mixed. During the earthquake, they thought of everything but me. Mom had tears in her eyes as she hugged me tight. They thought of everything but me. Mom had tears in her eyes as she hugged me tight. You've been through a lot, kiddo. I used to dream about this hug. But now, I just stepped back a bit, kept my distance, and replied politely. Thanks for the concern. Mom's open arms froze. Lily shot me a malicious glare. The next moment, she started whining. Dad, Mom, I'm sorry. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have just saved me and left my sister in a jam. Sis, hit me if you're mad. Just don't ruin the day for Mom and Dad. It's all on me. With just a few words, Lily flipped Dad's guilt into pure rage. You showed up on purpose today while we're having a party. Want everyone to get us wrong? So young, yet so crafty. You're nothing like my sister. I stared at him in disbelief. My real father. I had spent 5 days in the dark debris without water or food, consumed by endless fear. As time passed, the cries around me faded. I thought I wouldn't make it. Ready to send my parents my last message, only to see a bunch of happy posts, mixed feelings, not one less. 3 of them, plus a dog, snug at home. Meanwhile, I clawed my way out of the darkness, dragging off stones with bleeding hands, barely surviving. To him, it was just bad timing, like my struggle didn't matter. Suddenly, I didn't feel like explaining, so I turned back to my room. Behind me, Lily acted all sympathetic. Dad, don't be mad. Maybe sis wasn't raised right. We should be patient with her. Dad gave a cold snort. I regret ever finding her. She's nothing like Lily. I hid in my room, and the tears finally came. In this house, I never had a place. Shouldn't I be used to it by now? I turned and called my mentor. Professor, I've made up my mind. I'm moving abroad in a week to focus on my studies and never coming back. The next morning, Mom came to my room, a hint of blame in her voice. Jess, you shouldn't have stormed off like that when your dad was talking to you. It was disrespectful. I'm really disappointed. She stopped mid-sentence, staring at my discarded clothes. Last night's dim lights hid the true state of my white sweater, now soaked in red bloodstains. She finally realized what I went through. Dad walked in, lips trembling almost imperceptibly. He opened his mouth. Jess, I wasn't careful enough. I stared at the ceiling, my voice cold. Can you leave? I need to change. They never noticed me. If Lily got a paper cut, they'd rush her to the hospital. Meanwhile, my knee infections and pus? Invisible. They probably thought I was seeking sympathy from them. It wasn't carelessness, it was indifference. Sensing my chill, a rare panic flashed in their eyes. They always saw me as overly enthusiastic. Their eyes darted to the dining table, where I'd replace sunflowers daily, something they thought was pointless. Eagerly, Dad offered, Jess, you haven't put out sunflowers today. How about I drive you to get some? No need. In the past, I used to set out sunflowers daily to cheer myself up, hoping they'd love me again. Not anymore. I'd lost interest. 3 days later, it was both mine and Lily's birthday. It was today 23 years ago, in a hospital where we were mistakenly swapped. Thus began my 23-year nightmare. Mom excitedly pushed a huge cake into the living room. On the massive cake, only Lily's name was written, not mine. Servants popped party poppers. Dad placed the only princess hat on Lily's head. Happy 23rd to our little Princess Lily. Thanks to that mix-up, we got such a sweet daughter, Mom chimed in. Yes, we're so thankful the nurse swapped you. You came into our lives. We owe her big time. I clenched my fist. the very disaster I hated they cherished with gratitude. I scanned the servants vying to present gifts. These were the same people who once warned me, "Don't try to outshine Miss Lily. This house only has one miss. To the master and mistress, you're just favored servants. Know your place." Now, they fawned over Lily, overly eager to please. In the crowd, Lily raised an eyebrow and sneered at me. Overly eager to please. In the crowd, Lily raised an eyebrow and sneered at me. Everyone joined in a chorus. "Happy birthday, Lily." I wasn't about to wish someone else a happy birthday on my own birthday. So I turned back to my room and grabbed the gifts wrapped in shabby trash bags. Now or never to give them. Back in the living room, Lily's eyes were tearful. They're tearful? Back in the living room, Lily's eyes were tearful. "Dad, doesn't sis like me? Why won't she wish me a happy birthday?" My parents were about to scold me for being rude. Then they saw the 2 scarves I had knitted by hand. Their eyes lit up. I knew how Dad always envied our neighbor, Mr. Thompson, whose daughter knit him a scarf, leaving my parents envious every time. Mom held the scarf delicately, unwilling to let go. Dad just wrapped the scarf around his neck, not planning to discuss missing Lily's birthday anymore. He asked me, "Jess, when's your birthday? Mom and I will get you your favorite gift." I said, "Today." Mom and Dad exchanged a look, surprised for a moment. Mom quickly let out a couple of awkward laughs. "We were just teasing you. We know today's your birthday." Mom rushed to her room and moments later handed me a necklace. "Look, we got you this necklace." But right there it was engraved with Lily's name. I didn't throw a big fit like I used to, yet Mom got flustered, and Dad too. She kept rummaging through the cabinets saying, "Jess, trust Mom. We really got it for you. Each of you girls got one." She insisted. "We bought it when we went abroad earlier this month. Trust your mom." Dad's face changed and gave her a gentle nudge. That's when she realized she'd messed up. Her eyes showed regret and worry, fearing I might get upset. "Oh, so they all went abroad last month. No wonder I came home to find the door locked." I held the necklace that Lily rejected, feeling nothing. "It's fine. I'll take it." To make it up to me, my parents bought a bunch of stuff. I took all of it to work and gave it to my colleagues as goodbye gifts. Meanwhile, the news was all about the earthquake. Cameras accidentally caught me in survival mode, turning it into a trending topic. Parents recognized me right away. They bowed their heads, quiet and silent. That night, they took me and Lily out for dinner at a 5-star hotel. Dad raised his glass, chugging drink after drink, admitting he wasn't a good father. He kept saying sorry. I almost believed him. But after a few drinks, their true intentions showed. Mom tentatively started, "Jess, you know all the media are looking for you, right? And you know, Lily's always wanted to be an actress, so we thought maybe you could give her this opportunity since your face isn't clear in the video." Noticing my expression darken, Mom quickly added, "I'm not being biased, honey. I just think the opportunity should go to whoever needs it more. I love you both equally." Equally? Hearing that, I nearly laughed. In the years since I moved in, nothing was ever equal. Lily fell to her knees. "Sis, I know you never liked me, but I really need this chance. I'm begging you." I let out a cold chuckle. "Sure, you can have the chance, but you have to crawl around like a puppy on the floor." "Do, and I'll agree." Dad's face turned suspicious. "Jess, how can you treat your sister like this?" But I was upfront. "Why so upset? Back when Lily wouldn't let me in the house, she said the same thing. Is it just double standards?" My parents fell silent. "Yeah, they kept telling me Lily was just mischievous, but had a good heart. They told me to just go along with her." I sighed, releasing all the grievances from those years. "Dad, remember when you took us hiking and left me on the mountain because Lily felt neglected? I walked 3 hours home to the sound of wolves. Why such favoritism?" I said. "If you wanted me dead, just say so. After all, my life's yours to take. You gave it to me anyway. Mom, you never attended my parent-teacher meetings. Everyone at school called me a stray when I clearly had a mom. I'm your biological daughter. What did I do to deserve this?" By the end, my cheeks were cold with tears. I thought I stopped hurting because of them. They showed some remorse. Struggling to smile through tears, I said, "Fine, let Lily have the chance." They quickly looked up, ready to thank me when I interrupted. Consider it repayment for giving birth to me. From now on, we're even. Dad froze. What do you mean? I clarified. It means from now on, you owe me nothing. I owe you nothing. We're done. Mom panicked. No, no, you're my child. How can... I shrugged. Then Lily doesn't get the chance. They said nothing. A silent competition of hesitation in their eyes. A moment later, Dad gritted his teeth. I agree. The words left his mouth, and Lily's face lit up with triumph. Tears clouded my vision once again. My own parents chose Lily over me. Lily got tons of media interviews with my sweater, and her agency landed her several TV roles. My parents thought I was speaking out of anger that night. To make it up to me, they deleted all their Facebook posts about the earthquake that night, popped me into the family photo as if nothing was missing, took heaps of family photos, enlarged and hung them in their room. They swore no more favoritism, but I was cool with them. Nothing like before. It made them uneasy. And finally, Dad wanted an official banquet, announcing my place in the family like it should have been years back but postponed so as not to upset Lily. And I was just gathering things for my trip abroad. On the last day, I said goodbye at my only friend Betty's house. On her TV, I caught an entertainment news segment interviewing Dad. Lily's just the apple of our eye. Yesterday, we set up a will, leaving everything to her. Realizing his slip, Dad's eyes widened. Bias seeps through, no matter how you cover your eyes or mouth. Imagine their biological daughter getting nothing. All the love and money for Lily, the adopted one. I smirked as I pulled out my phone and forwarded the video to Dad. Half an hour later, as my friends hugged me, goodbye. Mom kept calling me nonstop. Jess, something terrible happened. Your dad's in trouble. He got into a fight with a reporter. Jess, you need to check it out. When I arrived at the scene, Dad was still struggling with the reporter, surrounded by a crowd of onlookers. Dad kept yelling, I already told you I misspoke, and you still want to air it. Are you just ignoring what I said? Do you understand how serious this is? You scumbag. Go to hell. Thankfully, the bodyguard's mom showed up just in time and separated them. That's when Dad noticed me, looking panicked. Jess, Dad didn't mean to. It just slipped out. Don't be mad, okay? Jess, please believe me this last time. Don't be angry. Don't abandon Mom and Dad. I stood outside the crowd, watching Dad's current mess. So many times when Lily falsely accused me of pushing her into the water, I begged him like this too. But he never believed me. Instead, I got yelled at while being pointed at. How could I have a daughter like you? I wish I could kick you out of the house. I nodded and helped him up. I get it, Dad. Let's head home. I didn't scream or shout hysterically like usual. This made Dad even more scared. He changed the party date to the next day. Overnight, Jess, let's have the party right away. Announce your return. He hurriedly called people to set everything up, hardly waiting for my response. Mom got busy too, frantically informing everyone about the updated party schedule. And me? I left for the airport before dawn the next morning. I took one last look towards home. Dad, Mom, I wish you happiness without me. By 7 a.m., my phone was blowing up with calls, but I hit the power off button. I put on a sleep mask and earplugs, thinking about life after the plane lands. 4 hours later, the plane touched down. My mentor, Jane, came with a group to pick me up. She was my professor back in college and cried when she heard about my past. She couldn't have kids due to health issues and treated me like her own daughter. So, after moving abroad, Jane desperately wanted me to come too. She knew things were rough at home for me. Whether it was with my adoptive parents or my biological ones, I switched my SIM card and followed her into the mountains for research. Up in the mountains, the signal was weak, and we just had an old TV. The TV showed endless missing person alerts. A famous businessman and his wife were seen in a video, tearfully apologizing to their daughter. We were wrong. Please come back, sweetheart. It's dangerous out there. If something happens to you, how could we live? Honey, I was wrong. I'll listen to you from now on. Reporters expressed strong criticism towards me on camera. There are no parents that aren't right, only children who aren't. Seeing your parents begging you in tears, even a cold heart should be touched. You entered this world through your parents. Instead of being grateful, you worry them so much. Shameful? By then, Lily, now a minor celebrity, used the moment for exposure. Jess, sis, I know you're upset. I won't fight for things anymore. I'll just give them to you. Please come back. At home, you always said the adoptive parents were good to you, breaking our parents' hearts. Now you're leaving over inheritance issues. Don't be stubborn. Come back, sis. I clenched my fists. Early on, when I returned home, Mom and Dad still had some pity for me. I showed them my scars. They almost cried out of heartache. But Lily interfered, claiming I was using my wounds for sympathy. She insisted my adoptive parents were good and even brought them to testify. For a while, I had no way to respond. Mom and Dad misunderstood me more and more. Within the research team, no one knew it was me. Many saw the news and scoffed. Wow, even Lily's out looking for her sister. This daughter sure is ungrateful. She's either dumb or bad, just after her parents' money, huh? Why even look for such a daughter? I tucked my head down, not planning to clarify. No one ever believed me at home, so I got used to swallowing the insults. Jane paused mid-meal, then tapped everyone on the head with her chopsticks. Stop spewing nonsense. The person they're looking for is your junior. All eyes fell on me. I was about to instinctively put myself down to blend in, but I heard their next words. What? Jess must have her reasons for not going back. This family sure knows how to emotionally manipulate. After a month with our junior, her character's clear. Lily definitely sounds shady. Count me as a non-fan now. Lily definitely sounds shady. Count me as a non-fan now. Journalists will write anything for cash. Jess, don't go back. They won't find you here. Seriously. I thought it was genuine. Our junior's so kind and wise, yet they paint her as a monster. Ridiculous. I turned away, letting tears fall into my food. For the first time in 23 years, someone was standing up for me. Living in the mountains was tough, but it was better than my previous life. The TV ran missing person alerts continuously for a month. My colleagues couldn't take it, turned off the TV, and tried comforting me. I thought this peaceful vibe could last forever. Until 6 months later, when Mom and Dad tracked me down. Loaded with gifts, they cried the moment they saw me. Sweetheart, you've gotten so thin. Come home with us, darling. Is it cold here? Hungry? Sweetie, you changed your phone number. We had nowhere to find you. I spent months asking dozens of friends and finally found out you were here. How about coming back with Mom and Dad? I took 2 steps back to put some distance between us. We've already cut ties. Do I need to remind you that Lily is a hotshot celebrity now? Your promises need to mean something. My parents' eyes turned red, and they stammered, trying to say something. Just then, Jane noticed me and jogged over, pulling me into a hug. What are you doing here? She snapped. Haven't you done enough to her already? I hugged her tightly and managed to choke out, Mom? A month ago, in front of the whole team, I accepted my mentor as my godmother. I'm going to take care of her when she's old. My mom froze, tears finally streaming down as she grabbed me frantically. Jess, I'm your real mom. Look at me. You said you loved me the most. Dad was flustered too. Jess, don't be so heartless to your parents. I shook off their hands, feeling annoyed. Sir, Lily is your daughter. Don't get it mixed up. They stood there, stunned, finally realizing. The daughter who used to tail them every time they came home. The daughter who eagerly massaged their shoulders and legs. The daughter who, even after being scolded, would hold back tears and still put on a smile. She was gone. Dad stumbled, his voice strained. Jess, it's okay if you don't want us. Just go see your adoptive parents. Lily said, they've been looking for you for ages. I exchanged glances with my mentor, who nodded, understanding what I was going to do. Go ahead. The work here isn't heavy. I'll give you a month off. All right. I flew back with my parents. I was about to spit out everything I had swallowed back with tears. On the plane, they thought I was worried about my adoptive parents. They kept talking about how much my adoptive parents missed me, hoping to keep me around. Jess, ever since you left, your adoptive parents looked for you every day. They're not educated, so all they could do was wait at the village entrance day after day. Poor Lily. She felt so bad for them. You see, you left them to go abroad. That wasn't right. So reckless. But now that you're back with us, we're so happy. You've grown up. And you're not the little girl who only wants to outdo Lily anymore. Feeling irritated, I put on my earbuds. After we landed, they were excited to call my adoptive parents, but I stopped them. I got an inconspicuous cab and headed straight to my adoptive parents' house. On the way, I casually checked my phone. People were calling me ungrateful and urging me to go to my adoptive parents' house. On the way, I casually checked my phone. People were calling me ungrateful, and with my adoptive parents' tearful accusations, the backlash reached a peak. When my adoptive mom saw me, she was nothing like the warm person from the interviews. She sneered and came at me with a broom. "What are you doing here, you jinx? Get lost!" My parents were shocked, standing beside me frozen. Dad instinctively tried to stop her. "Why are you hitting her?" With masks on, she didn't recognize them, taking them for my co-workers. She spat at Dad. "I'll hit her as much as I want. Who are you to tell me otherwise? What's the matter? Are you worried now? From the day she was little, there's not one good spot on her from my beatings. Feel sorry now? From as far back as I can remember, she used beatings to show authority." That was nothing like what Lily told them. My parents squinted, glancing between me and her, suspecting I was putting on an act. They were always on Lily's side. My adoptive mom just thought I had no status at my new home, so she had even less respect for me. Her words worsened, even making Mom and Dad frown. Then a neighbor rushed in, shielding me. "Silly girl, why come back? You barely escaped. Don't come back." My adoptive mom was unhappy. "What are you saying?" the neighbor sneered. "Who in the village doesn't know your family? The man gets drunk and takes it out on his daughter. The woman treats her own daughter like an enemy, not even feeding her. I secretly gave the girl a bun, and you poured hot oil on her arm. You cruel things, you'll get your karma." My dad clenched his fists, eyes red with rage, wanting to take down the man in the house. Mom was stunned. Frantic, she lifted my sleeve and saw the palm-sized scar. Ugly and hopeless. Once, to prove my adoptive mom was bad to me, I showed the scar. All my parents said was, "Can't believe you're so cruel to yourself at such a young age, competing with Lily for affection. It's hard on you." My adoptive mom was even less pleased. "She's not my real daughter. Giving her food is more than she deserves." The neighbor kept sneering. "Right, everyone in the village knows the woman swapped her own daughter for another to make her girl a little princess. You're something else." Dad couldn't hold it in. "Is all you said true? Duh. Ask everyone. No one in the village doesn't feel for Jess or hasn't cursed her family. Lucky Jess is living well with her real folks. Who knows how much pain they'd feel?" At that moment, my parents felt immense guilt. They never cared for or believed me. They couldn't imagine what I'd been through all these years, making the whole village feel sorry. Dad couldn't hold back anymore. He grabbed a stick from the side, hands shaking slightly as he hit the adoptive mom. "Jess, such a good kid? How could you be so heartless?" The adoptive mom screamed, weak fingers pointed at him. "You hit me, my daughter Lily. My daughter said this little bitch has no standing. My daughter's the real deal. Who the hell are you? Dare to mess with me, you little punk. You're dead." When Dad pulled off his mask, she was stunned. My parents called the cops. Charged with swapping kids with the help of a nurse, Jess's adoptive parents would spend the rest of their years behind bars. When the police announced it, they finally realized the person in front of them was the CEO of the famous group. They instantly panicked, crawling on their knees to Dad. "Please forgive us. For the sake of Lily, such a good kid, spare us." She rushed to me, bowing her head. Jess, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you badly. I just had a wrong thought. Please, Jess." But no one paid her any attention. Mom was so upset she kicked her a few times. On the way home, my parents finally understood they had misunderstood me. They wanted to apologize, but the words just wouldn't come out. The damage was too deep. No apology could make up for it. When Lily found out we visited her adoptive mother, she didn't care her biological mom was sentenced to prison. Instead, she anxiously asked Dad, "What did she tell you?" Fearing her adoptive mother might spill the truth about my real situation, Dad was so angry he laughed, clapping. "Oh, what a good daughter of your mother's. Still only looking out for yourself at a time like this. I must have been blind to hurt my own daughter for you, time and time again. Get out. Get lost." Lily looked at Mom with pleading eyes. "Mom, what's Dad saying?" I didn't understand. I thought Mom would argue fiercely with Dad, like usual, for her sake. but Mom just had a dark expression, giving her a hard slap. Lily, we've treated you well, you ungrateful little thing. What more do you want? Why slander Jess? Lily collapsed on the ground, realizing everything had been exposed. She cried, pleading with Mom. Mom, I'm sorry. I love you so much. I was afraid Jess would steal your love from me. Sorry, Jess is your biological daughter. At least she has that blood tie, but I have nothing. I was really scared. Mom, please forgive me. Mom looked at her full of disappointment. Is it really just fear of Jess competing with you for love? Lily lifted her head. What, Dad? With anger suppressed through all the evidence he had, it showed on her face. Lily's face was grazed by the sharp paper, but Mom and Dad were unmoved. Lily picked up the paper, and her face turned pale. It recorded all the evidence of her transferring funds over the years. Dad and Mom always knew, but at the time, they thought Lily was just young and naive, so they pretended not to notice. But now, they know it wasn't because she was young. It was pure malice. Dad and Mom gathered this evidence and took Lily to court. They even issued a long apology from their official account, describing in detail how Lily used my sweater to deceive everyone, eventually becoming a star. Lily lost tons of fans overnight. I can't believe Lily is like this. Shameless. Just recently, she's been saying on TV she was looking for her sister. Now it looks like she's actually throwing dirt on her. What a fake. Even her face looks like she can't be up to any good. When everyone was bashing Jess, I kept quiet. Now the truth is finally out. Jess had it rough. What kind of parents are these, protecting their adopted daughter, not loving their own daughter? They dare put up a missing person's notice on TV? Jess, you better run. Find a place where no one can get to you. Live out your life in peace. Later, Lily was arrested. I returned to my team, heading to remote mountains for research. My parents sold off all their property to find me. They traveled the world but never found me. Every Friday night at 8 p.m., the TV played messages about finding me. Every time, my team would turn off the TV and sink. The last time the message played, I was deep in self-doubt due to some data issues. My team didn't blame me, comforting me, making me doubt myself even more. Am I really not cut out for this field? And this time, for the first time, I turned on the TV. In front of the TV were the faces of my parents, showing signs of age. Jess, we don't expect your forgiveness. We just hope you live well from now on. What happened before was our fault. Don't let our mistakes make you doubt yourself. You're an amazing kid. Lovely, sincere, smart, brave. Take these qualities and explore the world. Jess, we won't bother you anymore. We hope you can live the life you want. I suddenly realized something. Because of my childhood experiences, I habitually suppressed myself. I thought my adoptive mom didn't love me because of me. I thought my parents didn't love me because of me. So I fell into a cycle of self-denial. When faced with challenges, I'd be the first to give up on myself. But really, not everything was my fault. I turned around and started my experiment again. This time, I succeeded. I was overwhelmed with tears, hesitating whether to send a message to my parents to thank them. Just then, my phone, usually without signal, suddenly pinged with a message. National mourning, a massive earthquake struck. My heart skipped a beat as I quickly clicked into the page. The earthquake's epicenter was my parents' city. Many people were trapped under collapsed buildings. Cries filled the air. The prison doors were shaken off. Many prisoners tried to escape, only to be swallowed by the earth, including Lily and my adoptive parents. Even though we had grudges in the face of a national disaster, I couldn't help but feel sad. I hesitated whether to message my parents to see if they were safe. My fingers slowly typed a line, and right before I pressed send, another message came in. Jess, there was an earthquake. Your dad and I can't get out. Now I finally understand how helpless you felt facing the earthquake back then. I guess this is karma. Words can't express my apologies. We just hope you can forget us and the harm we did to you. Live well. Jess, we love you. The moment I received this message, cheers erupted from the TV. We found them. The bricks were cleared away, revealing my parents' bloodied faces. Before I could feel any joy, the rescue worker shook his head slightly. The host, choking up, announced the death toll had gone up by 2. A few days later, my parents' lawyer found me, saying they left all their inheritance to me before they died. Holding the scorched bank card, I donated the entire amount to post-earthquake reconstruction. I guess you could say I was building up some good karma for them. Later on, while I was running around in the deep mountains, I met my other half. With the witness of my mentor and the blessings from the whole group, we had a simple wedding. After that, we had a cute little daughter. I gave her all the love and care I never received myself. That sweet little girl kept saying over and over, "Mommy, I love you. I love you so much." It brought tears to my eyes. The first half of my life was rough, always on the move. But I'm lucky to have met good people in the latter half. They used their genuine hearts and love to carefully help me, the sensitive and self conscious me, grow up all over again. I had a dream where I saw my younger self crying in a cow sheet. Gently, I leaned in close and whispered in her ear, "I love you." I love the sensitive, self conscious, yet still kind and brave me. In that moment, I finally made peace with all the grievances and regrets from the first half of my life.